that we can educate as many as we want. What we will then do, we will have them running from our continents to go to Europe, to go and to the US and so forth. That one of the issues that we need to do is to educate our students to be citizens, not just citizens in terms of being skilled in what they do, but to be citizens who question and hold our leaders accountable. And I know I'm trying to preach and I'm not trying to do that, but I'm saying that there is no way that universities by themselves can change the political landscape without actually the social environment supporting that. So yes, we can exist for 100+ years, but also within there has to be an enabling environment that actually ensures that what we produce builds our economies. And I think as Africans, we have to be brutally honest about that. We have to be brutally honest by the type of leaders we have. And I'm not trying to sound anything. I'm not pointing a finger. I'm just trying to get in a plane tomorrow to go back home. So I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm not. Please don't hear me saying that. All that I'm saying is that we have a responsibility, and our responsibility is not just to teach. Our responsibility is that how do we build the continent? Thank you.
I'll respond to the question on agriculture first and indicate that out of our 9 qualifications, 3 are in agriculture. We have a diploma in plant production, the SC agriculture, and the BA in agricultural extension. We also have opportunities for research fellows, postdocs, and visiting academics. And this is part of our drive for partnerships and linkages, networks, etc. You asked if we have partnerships with West Africa. Currently, we don't. So I want to use this opportunity to explore partnerships with universities in West Africa. We are about to establish a partnership with Mondi University in Uganda. So it's a new university like ourselves, so we're very excited about that. I think the question of being an African university as vis-a-vis international approach, I would see that being an African university actually does not preclude being part of the global movement. It actually means that you are rooted in your context, which is Africa. I think that's all it means. And as I indicated in my presentation, that we want to expose students to different worldviews, and those will be from China, from Latin America, from India. So that will be part of the internationalization of the institution.
Thank you. The last one. Thank you, sir. There was a question about population is giving a negative perception of TVET, and I fully agree with yourself. Kenyans, those of you who probably were following newspaper reports a few months ago, we have noticed that at the Technical University of Kenya, we are having a serious problem with students who came in to study for engineering technology programs, going on the streets and saying they didn't want to study for engineering technology programs. They wanted to study for the engineering degree. We have two engineering programs in the Faculty of Engineering. One is training as a technologist, one is training as an engineer. And the engineering technology students said, no, we don't want to be technologists, we want to be engineers now. And we had to send them away for some time, as we did that topics, and that's even about headache back and forth to deal with this issue. The reason is the negative perception. In fact, the students tell us that they understand very well that if you become a technologist, you're supposed to be a hands-on person. They don't want to be hands-on people. They want to be like engineers who sit behind a desk and be with instructions. Simply like that. And I have a member of council here in this hall who listened to the students, telling them with audacity that we, in Kenyan language, that we don't want to be one of color. We want to be engineers who don't have to be hands-on people. This is so tragic, and I've never had anything like this at the institution, and I was so shocked to hear that students could be speaking like this. They're saying we don't want to be hands-on now. It is the perception. We're trying to deal with it, okay? We have tried, one of the ways is, in the last 3 years, we have championed through Parliament the registration of a professional body to register engineering technologies. There are already similar bodies for other technologies, like in the medical field and health field. That is no problem. But the majority of the students were training as technologists, and I've told you, 50% of our students are engineering, and in the engineering technology side. And they were telling us, if this thing is so important, how come there is no professional body that recognizes it? So we have gone very far to Parliament, what is left is for the President to put a signature on the law. We hope that is going to be sorted out. Secondly, precisely because of this, TUK was created to provide articulation for people who had diploma. So if you had a diploma, because one of the reasons people going through TVET were feeling left out is that it was a cul-de-sac. It was you get a diploma, and that was the end of you. You couldn't go anywhere else. The big universities were not interested in you. And so institutions like TUK were created. And what we do, if you have a diploma today, recognized by TVET, you come to us, we give you 2 years, and you get your degree. And that, by the way, contrary to what people think, the Bachelor of Technology program being taken by diploma students is the most popular program we have. And in fact, the happiest students we have on campus are people who have taken diploma before, come back to us to do 2 years Bachelor of Technology, and all of them, in 3 months, they all have employment. So, the ones who are demonstrating were high schoolers, and high schoolers are saying, that is well and good for people who have got diploma, because they were not exactly very clever. That's why they need a diploma. Ourselves, we are clever. We came here with A grades. Why do you want us to do this program which is meant for stupid people? You listen to that? Incredible. So, these are some of the things we are trying to do. I can discuss this with you afterwards, with some of this president. Now, number SDGs, let me talk about attitudinal change. No, I want to take a comment that was addressed actually to my colleague from South Africa, where somebody asked, the university has been there for over 100 years, and we are still languishing in poverty. I fully agree with you. We are importing toothpicks from wherever we could get them. Toothpicks. Now, why are we doing this? I always give this example. As long as, first of all, the mistake we made as African universities when we started university education, somebody told us, if you train engineers, you will move forward technologically. Rubbish. I'm trained in engineering, so don't think that I don't know what I'm talking about. And I've grown up in engineering for the whole of my life. Now, an engineer is not trained to make things. Engineer is never trained to make things. An engineer is trained to take science and think how you can use science to make something. After that, they are trained to design that thing. Design this bottle. After they have designed the bottle, they are trained to supervise the making of the bottle. They are never trained to make the bottle. And it doesn't matter how many engineers you have, unless they convert themselves and become born again, they will never make a bottle. They are supposed to supervise somebody to make the bottle. And that is why my technology students are telling me we are supposed to be trained to go and supervise the making of this bottle. We don't want to make it. Now, as long as we're doing that for 50 years, where do you think we're going to make the bottle from? That is the kind of person we have been training. And then we think we're going to be technology. It can't work. And that is why, my friend, we have to keep on importing. Until we make people, we train people in our universities who are going to make things.
Yesterday I was giving a young man an example here. Can you think about architecture? Architecture is engineering. An architect is trained already to conceptualize how space can be used and how you can design a building. An architect is not trained to put up a building. If you have thousands of architects and you don't have anybody who knows how to put up a building, no building will be built. And that is why we are important. So, it comes back to what I say. Until we make technologies whose business it is to make things, I can assure you, 2063 is going to come, and Africa is still going to wonder what happened. Now, then what about poverty data 10 years old? My friend, the data is 10 years old, but it is simply because this data is collected from World Bank and other places. World Bank itself has to collect this data around the world. By the time they collect it and they publish it, it is usually stale. It is usually at least 5 years old. Unfortunately, this is the way we have to live. There's no other way. So that is the basic get now. SDGs number 16 is the last attitudinal change I'm addressing with number 1. Now, SDGs number 16, I fully agree with you. This is governance, governance, governance. Africa's biggest problem. But I want to tell you this. My view is this. It comes back to poverty. Why? Because of poverty, we can't get education. Poor people can't get education unless missionaries come. And many of us who are poor, we got education because missionaries came to Africa and built schools. And so we went to school for free, bare feet, without clothes and so forth, and now we're in crisis. Unless somebody comes and does that to you, you are going to remain ignorant. What? No education? Ignorant? A few people who have education will always take advantage of you, and that is where the power elite is. So as long as Africa is made up of poor, ignorant, uneducated people, the few people who have knowledge will take advantage of you. I want to give you a small example in my country today. Because people are becoming much more enlightened. People are beginning to realize that you can even take vice chancellor to court. A few years ago, this was not possible. So in my university, people are taking it to court all the time because they're now educated. So that is the beginning of it. Thank you very much.
Stand up as we wind this down. Can you stand up again? 80% of our population lives in rural areas. It means they're not part of the economic mainstream. You must bring that 80% to the economic mainstream. We must understand business because the essence of society we live in today is an essence that puts business at the forefront of anything else. We understand business. As of right now, we don't understand business. And therefore, Africa needs to move from the pre-industrial revolution period to the industrial period. Remember, we moved from industrial to service to technology to now information. And we are still at the back there. It is education that is going to try and solve this problem so that we go into the mainstream. And as they say, how many companies are here which are Kenyan companies which are doing the big projects? In some of these, or in South Africa. But in South Africa, with due respect to my colleagues here, the blacks were told, don't go into business, that's not your area. So so we must get into business. We must get the business culture to be able to get technologists to do what we want us to do, to be able to train. 2, we must reform TVET. Reforming TVET means we must stop getting people who go to failures in TVET. That is what is happening. And this is what Capa needs to talk about and take back to our ministries. In Uganda, when you fail to go from primary, you go to the college. It's called a course. You go to a course. When you fail secondary, you go to a course. So we have these people going into the vocational institutions, so they feel inferior. We must be able to go back and try and incorporate vocational and technical education into the mainstream education so that we take some of the best. If we are going to have technologists, there must be people who will drop out of the mainstream system. That is why everybody wants to have a degree. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to shake hands with your neighbor. As you shake your hands, you are Sana.
Thank you very much. Let's also give Professor. It has been a very interesting journey, and courtesy of Professor Duol, we've taken a trip down memory lane. Now, I'm so sorry I'll have to make you sit down for TVET Authority. Hope I got that right. TVET Authority, Dr. Langat. Dr. Langat. Thank you very much. A big round of applause for Dr. Langat. Thank you very much, Professor. Then, Director will still need you there, so don't leave. She represents from University of South Africa. I'm so sorry I didn't get your name properly, it just went like that. But yes, that's her name. Professor Moshe, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Also, you will be awarded with something. Congratulations.
That is a new guy.
I won't take you to court, don't worry. Thank you very much, Professor Duol. Please give a round of applause for Professor Waswa.
All the way from Uganda.
Matu. All right. Prize giving session. So these are the chairs of the forum sessions we had in the morning. I want to go very fast because of time. Science and technology. Thank you very much, Edwin. As Edwin gets on stage, let's have Josephat Sawe, principal. Please, our paparazzis, be very fast. We want to save on time. And a big round of applause for Edwin Koimet. Did a good job in the morning. That is Josephat Sawe. Thank you very much, all the way from Eldoret. Let's have Athanas Mokaya, all the way from Then finally, let's have Daniel Fombo, all the way from Lusaka, Zambia. That's the capital city.
I hope you've had a good lunch. And should you not have had good lunch, I apologize on behalf of the hotel and the Capa management. Otherwise, it is my pleasure to get an impromptu job, which I think I'll be able to do, of course, with your participation and indulgence. I'm happy to introduce to you my two presenters. The one on my immediate right is a good friend of mine who is coming from, he's also a chair colleague of mine, but he chairs a different organization called COOPS. Do you know what COOPS is in Kenya? Kenya Universities and Colleges Central Placement Services. And I'm happy to introduce Professor David Detey, who has been my long-time friend. He comes from University of Nairobi, but apparently is also the chair of COOPS. So if you have people who want to go to the university and to tertiary institutions, and you are not sure of what is going on, they also have an advert today in the local dailies.
I've not been an undertaker before, and I'm glad you're all in one piece after a very long session before. I'm hoping that I'll stimulate enough thinking about some of the issues that I want to raise for us to perhaps not be friends after this. I was in the fortunate space of being at UNESCO Univoc when the Sustainable Development Goals were written or signed off, because of course it's been a long process. And this afternoon what I will share with you is some of the ideas around sustainable development and for us South Africans. Okay, a quick background. I've been in South Africa all my life, so I use South Africa my thinking, writing, and deliberating around technical and vocational education. So I've called this particular presentation "If Wishes Were Horses," and reflecting, of course, on the quite optimistic Sustainable Development Goals that have just been signed into the international space. Now I want to specifically talk about the SDGs and development and question that particular position about whether in fact we should be on track and exactly what does it mean for us. Right, we've just gone through MDGs. Thought I'd share that. And if I can just read it, the guy says, because I like it better. So the idea is it simply replacing one set of goals with another? What does it mean? It's necessary about it. Okay? What is possible? If anything at all. Implementation. Have the hard questions been asked and answered and resolved? Look at the nature of the current order, the nature of the possible future economic order. And you might well be thinking that I'm living in another planet after this. And I have been accused of that a few times in my life. So it's fine. Thirdly, does the SDGs do what we in emerging, I like to think of us as emerging economies, needed to do? And how do we understand TVET for sustainable development? What notion of development do we have? What notion of development do we want to advance? Who does it favor? How do you understand the notion of sustainability? What is sustainability? We hear about it all the time. Who or what is being privileged when we talk about sustainability? And the implications of all of this, the key question that I have in mind about social equity, stability, and technology. We've heard a lot about that. Right, some holy cows. Is development exclusion? Is development about the economy? Is it exclusively economic or inclusively economic? In other words, are we going to be able to say quite clearly, as we heard yesterday, that most national policies work on pillars: economic, social, political? For me, that's mutually exclusive. Economic development without a clearly defined social inclusive perspective is actually no economic. So here, that's my card to the table. What is the notion of sustainability? Is it about resources, sustainable livelihoods, that we actually need to be worrying about people, economy, about jobs, about growth? And if jobs and growth happen, have we solved the problem? Can one happen without the other? What notion of inclusiveness do we have? You know, who is included, who is excluded? How does inclusion happen? Okay, as somebody said, it's the economy student. So this is what I see as the toxic triad. We've heard about this often enough. Poverty, inequality, unemployment. That bedevils us all. Right. Where are we now? Like Kenya, we in South Africa are a nation united. We are united in protest. And you saw that in Kenya. So most developing emerging countries, we have serious issues. Preschool, for instance, we have our students out in the streets a couple of months ago. You have some issues with the electoral system. Of course, there's deeper kind of tensions, but clearly there are a number of people that don't have jobs that are out there. So we need to take care of those deeper issues that give rise to this. And yes, we have xenophobia, so that's how we are united. Get on the streets and we demonstrate. Right? Or sometimes we're not allowed to demonstrate. Okay, but either ways, we show our unhappiness with a range of issues. And people out there that believe that they need to be heard for one or other reason. And those are socioeconomic. Right? This is hot off the press. Something from your newspapers. Right? And of course, government issues ban on IC. Okay, but these are fissures in the system. And we have that everywhere. Right? We have xenophobia. You ask why we have xenophobia. A whole range of issues underpin that. And clearly, one of the big issues is that there's inequality and there's expectations that are clearly frustrated. Right, so to what extent then is my question on these critical areas? Notwithstanding, of course, the importance of environmental degradation that is already happening. Let's talk about inequity. Okay? Richard Freeman, 2011, talked about the triumph of globalization and market capitalism improved living standards for billions while concentrating billions around the few. It has lowered inequality worldwide but raised inequality within most countries. So within most countries, that's where we're seeing most of the tensions that results from inequality. The son from Kenya, President Obama, in February, in his economic report for the president, the report spoke clearly about the kind of inequality that the world is on, not only emerging economies. Right? From 1975 to 2015. See the increase there. Blue line there shows there's increasing wealth in fewer and fewer hands. We don't talk about a wealth gap or a pyramid or a triangle, we talk about people now. Very few people earning too much. Global versus African poverty. The professor this morning pointed out this particular slide, and of course I couldn't take it out, it was just too late, but it does reflect that we in Africa are close to disaster in a sense. If we just simply compare sub-Saharan Africa with all of the other areas, we see that our poverty rate is 13. If we have a particular notion of sustainable that says we need to continue in this trajectory. If we do, we are in for big trouble. Look at the global employment trends, right? Sub-Saharan Africa, clearly we didn't lose jobs, we didn't gain any, right? And we were low down in the food chain. But as you can see, most of the world is struggling with the issue of unemployment. And we have, of course, clearly youth exclusion, right? In the 1960s, we were talking about the African Development Goals, talked about a youth time bomb. We still have that 50, 60 years later. Exclusion is also a form of a time bomb. young people, as you know, account for more than 60% of unemployed, etc., etc., and that's where most of our problems lie. And of course, in South Africa, we had this cartoon going the rounds where the past president couldn't deliver jobs. And part of the problem is that we need to really rethink the economic development trajectory. We had quite a disaster a few years ago where there were jobless, 100,000 go for 1,000 metro cop posts, now, unless somebody elsewhere as well. You know, your railway line, and you have to tell me more about this because all I read is what's in the POLYTECHNICS. That train line that leads from MOMBASA right up to the other side of Africa, built by the Chinese. At one stage there was unrest, about 5,000 Chinese people coming through. And despite the fact, now clearly that tells you that there is an issue everywhere. Davos recently had some interesting noises about the fourth industrial revolution. I haven't heard too much about that yet. But the kind of stuff that was said earlier in February this year about the fourth industrial revolution. This is Schwab, the chair of Davos. There's never been a time of greater promise or greater peril. Now he's talking about developing and developed countries. Right, let's see what somebody else has to say. Digital is the main reason just over half the companies in the Fortune 500 have disappeared since the year 2000. So we're into a digital era, and as we heard, there's lots of positives, but I'm going to give you another spin around that. The Robert Schiller, the CE of Harvard, says we cannot wait until there are massive dislocations in our society to prepare for the fourth industrial revolution. We essentially, to remind people about the fourth industrial revolution, the first one was steam, 1784, 1870, and then you had electricity coming in 1969, etc., or kind of a mechanized kind of revolution. And now we talk about Industry 4.0. We're talking about that robotic age. This is the kind of plant in Schenectady in the US. Right? 4 or 5 people, which would have been employed, would have employed thousands of people. And that particular plant, $170 million, run by about 50 or 60 people. And it produces batteries designed to keep cells connected in parts of Africa and the rest of the world. We have robots doing what people used to do in the West. We have a factory in the box, and we're talking about a time when you will buy a car together with the factory manufacturer already right here. Okay? Not the blue overall kind. We have that person on the right who looks like a doctor. So is this where we are headed? Is this where we want to go? Clearly, yes. But if we continue in that way, we'll end up here. Robots tell us where to go, what to do. Okay, it's extreme. But the reality is, the effect of that skills disruption means that core skills will change. We will need to rethink what and how we do things in emerging contexts. Now, if the world has already had to deal with part of it in the West, it's coming here. Do we want to introduce it here? What notion of development do we want? what about all the thousands of youth that are out of jobs? There's jobs that are going to completely disappear. And the plan is, without being Luddite about it, is that you will have a situation where there won't be anything to do and there won't be any money to buy the stuff that is produced. Now, there's lots of positives to technology, and I don't want to sit here and argue that it's absolutely useless, because clearly there are health benefits. We can send a drone out to some part of the world and solve a whole range of diseases. We can get a whole bunch of paraplegics to do stuff that they couldn't dream of doing. So there's lots of positives. But it's about making strategic decisions about what needs to be introduced. You cannot have technology in a bakery, for instance, that needs to have people employed to introduce a whole bunch of robots to do what people need to do. Unless we think by some miracle we'll have an economy that will simply take those youth and employ them. So what I'm saying is we need to be thinking through in boardrooms about the kind of technology that we introduce, especially in our context. Because we have people that are likely to be starving. We know about poverty rates. So how do you begin to get them involved and actively engaged in the economy? For instance, this has a range of implications for education and training. The dichotomy between humanities and sciences and pure training will soon disappear if we continue on this trajectory. And maybe we should. But we just need to be thinking through the implications of that particular event. Okay, back to the SDGs. Now we know that it makes bold claims about transforming our world. What is the notion of transformation? We heard this morning about 17 goals. I won't go through that. I might be rushing for time. When these SDGs were signed in, your government, my government, all governments committed themselves to people, planet, prosperity, eradicating poverty, including extreme poverty. So it was clear. At every stage, from the preamble to the declaration, there's more than 20 times mention made about poverty eradication. So there has to be something that's firmly on our agenda. We are setting out supremely ambitious and transformational vision, world free of poverty. So we talk about vision, mission, etc., etc. This SDGs says the right things. It talks about building the success of the MDGs. It's considered to be broader and more complex than MDGs. It's economic development, social inclusion, and environment. As I said, we need to be thinking about whether it really does all of that together. Applies to all countries, developed and developing. And that was one of the advances apparently from the MDGs, because it only applied to the developing world. So it talks about sustainable use of resources, peaceful, inclusive societies, and clearly there's a promise of inclusive, universal, integrated, locally focused technology. Again, we need to unpack some of these things if we need to make sense of what we need to do. Right, when it comes to TVET and the MD and the SDGs, Goal 8 talks about complete, decent work for all women and men. Right. We might argue that it's absolutely ambitious and not possible. for me, at least it sets the path. But how we begin to try to marry the wishes with the reality is something we still need to do. Because remember, the SDGs have not up to this time agreed on a clearly defined monitoring and evaluation framework. They don't have a mechanism by which to make sure that we do these wide-ranging goals, which, as I said, no one can argue. The nice thing about the SDGs, it does put TVET at the center of development. It talks about gender parity, it talks about vocational education in ways that the MDGs could only dream of. About how we do that responsibly. Goal 4 does talk about lifelong learning, which is a great advance, as I said. By 2030, ensure access to all women and men to affordable and quality technical, vocational, and tertiary education, including university. Somehow university gets relegated to the back. Expand skills development, ensure access at all levels, reference to literacy and numeracy, knowledge and skills development. So it does foreground the role of TVET. But it does mean that TVET institutions would now need to start rethinking what their role is, because the economy is